Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Stanley Nyaringita and this is the Daily Report. On sign language interpretation is Rhoda Nyamai. Now the big question is, what is the role of youth in matters politics? The politics in Kenya is definitely being redefined. That is a big question for you tonight. As a young person, what is your role of politics in the particular country? All this right here in our bulletin. But first, to the highlights. Tonight, Justin Muturi kicked out as CS Public Service in changes in government. MP Geoffrey Ruku picked to replace the embattled CS. Also tonight, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen defends his track record in the Ministry of Interior.
Each one of us is seeking for personal glory. You know, you want to be the guy here, you do some few PR here and there, you're taking a few pictures here and there.
As the country witnesses numerous cases of insecurity. Plus, family of Amos Langat, who was allegedly shot dead by the bodyguard of State House spokesperson Hussein Mohammed, is crying for justice.
Mina tetemeka kabisa kwa mtoto yangu. Minaomba serikali asaidie sisi.
And former Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waititu to remain in custody as court sets April 23rd for bail application ruling. It's 9 p.m. East African time. Thank you very much for choosing us. Number 2047 is our SMS number. 0793-267-279 is our WhatsApp number. Keep talking to us even as we continue. Justin Bidan Muturi has been kicked out as the Cabinet Secretary, Public Service. Mary North Member of Parliament Geoffrey Ruku was picked to replace Muturi, who has in the recent past been at loggerheads with the President. And as Eric Munene now reports, the President has also moved Aiden Duale to the Ministry of Health, swapping him with Deborah Mlongo.
I had a problem with the AG who was there. He was fairly incompetent.
In the latest changes by President William Ruto in his cabinet, Mbeere North MP Geoffrey Ruku has been nominated as the CS Public Service, Human Capital and Special Programs.
I have received calls from friends and seen on social media that I have been nominated by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya to be a Cabinet Secretary.
I mean, government cannot be the one abducting its people.
Ruku replacing Justin Muturi, who has been at loggerheads with the appointing authority, President William Ruto.
But I now have a very competent lady.
If Ruku is approved by Parliament, this will mean a by-election in Mbeere North will be conducted.
And in case the National Assembly of the Republic of Kenya does the vetting and I'm successful and sworn in, I will serve the Republic of Kenya in that office with the same dedication and commitment I have served the people of Mbeere North.
The Raila Odinga. Now this is coming just...
Ruku has been a fierce defender of President William Ruto, having defended his tour of the Mount Kenya region on TV47's Morning Cafe Wednesday morning.
Explaining to the people of Mount Kenya about the broad-based government.
President of the Republic of Kenya will be telling the people of Mount Kenya region things to do with development politics. The shenanigans of tribal ethnic politics, he will not go there. The incompetence of one man called Rigathi Gachagua, he will not go there.
In the changes, President Ruto has also nominated the widow of the late Baringo Senator William Cheptumo, Hannah Wendot Cheptumo. President William Ruto has also moved Aden Duale to the Ministry of Health, while Deborah Mlongo was moved to the Ministry of Environment, Climate and Forestry. In the recent days, Mlongo has been at the receiving end from all quarters. Ruku and Cheptumo will now face Parliament for approval. The Ministry of Gender, Culture, Arts and Heritage has been without a CS after the nomination of Stella Soy Langat as the Cabinet Secretary was rejected after she failed to convince lawmakers that she was suitable for the role. Eric Munene, TV47.
Right, and in the same spirit, former Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Justin Muturi, who had grown to be a thorn on the side of the government over his outspoken stance over the state of abduction, spent his last day as a Cabinet Secretary defending his 2-year stint as Attorney General. Muturi made public his track record, claiming to have saved the government 17.5 billion Kenyan shillings amid a growing difference between him and President William Ruto, who on Tuesday did hit out at Muturi, stating that he proved to be incompetent as the Attorney General. Muige William reports.
Justin Bidan Joka Muturi,
former Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, will not take President William Ruto's remarks describing him as incompetent during his time as the Attorney General lightly. Ruto, during an iftar session, accused Muturi of delaying the rollout of the Muslim Endowment Fund that had been proposed by Muslim leaders.
I had a problem with the AG who was there. He was fairly incompetent, but I now have a very competent lady.
Muturi defended himself, stating that the formation of the fund was not under his docket as the Attorney General. Muturi further took time to share his exit scorecard at the State Law Office, highlighting key achievements in litigation, legal reforms and government advisory services. Muturi detailed significant accomplishments during his tenure, including saving the government 17.5 billion shillings in legal claims throughout successful court defenses. He claims to have successfully defended 503 cases out of a total of 1,588 cases that were concluded. The former Speaker of the National Assembly, he further listed a 5.2 billion shillings Supreme Court appeal by Kabuitu Contractors Limited and a 3.77 billion shillings case against Torino Enterprises Limited as some of the big wins at the helm of the State Law Office. Beyond litigation, Muturi emphasized then as AG his office played a key role in major national projects such as the Affordable Housing Scheme. Digitization of government services through the e-Citizen platform, also highlighted legal support for the Hustler Fund, the Green Hydrogen Ammonia project, and negotiations on public-private partnerships.
Those who know Muturi is not very incompetent, really. You wouldn't really say he's incompetent. Maybe you would say if he doesn't want to do something, he doesn't do it.
Pundits opine the growing difference between President Ruto and Muturi is beyond yesterday's remarks by the president. Muturi in recent days has been a sharp critic towards the government of a spate of abductions, and even formally writing to be excused from attending cabinet meetings until the issue of abductions and extrajudicial killings is officially tabled before cabinet through a cabinet memorandum.
Muturi has articulated himself in certain issues that many Kenyans have also articulated themselves. And I think it has a personal aspect to it about his own son and the abductions that are going on. And I think Muturi has been more pronounced on the issue of abduction other than anything else.
Muturi had maintained his stance on not resigning from the Ruto-led government.
It's our game of politics. Nothing is holy in this country and nothing is unholy. Everything is fair game. Yeah, there are no morals. This is a country without virtues. And that's how we play our games. We have no conscience, we have no virtue.
According to Muturi, the growing call to resign due to his stance on abductions would be an act of cowardice. Muige William, TV47.
Right. Meanwhile, President William Ruto met leaders from the Western Kenya region at State House, Nairobi today. On a day he has made changes in his cabinet. The president assuring the Mulembe nation that the region is firmly in the broad-based government. And as our senior political reporter Elizabeth Mutukuna reports, the leaders had raised concerns over claims that National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula will be kicked out of his position.
President William Ruto held a meeting with Western region leaders in what is said to firm up his grip in the region and to pacify the disgruntled voices amid the shakeup in the government.
We have brought different teams together.
The president insisting of having everyone on board in the already broadened government as he assured the Western leaders of his support to the region.
We are making steady progress in the right direction. As people's representatives and areas that you need to focus so that we can use the infrastructure of government to drive the development of our country.
Sources, however, say that leaders raised questions on their representation in the broad-based government and development of the region. They also sought to know how safe is Wetangula's position as the Speaker of National Assembly, with rumors of his removal having dominated the political scene a while back.
We haven't gotten the right share, yes, because even when you look at the PSS, we have very little. You look at CSS, very little. You look at even parastatal bosses, ambassadors, we haven't. As a region, we have numbers, we are big, but the allocation is small.
For us, we will measure, we will decide, people will decide based on how he delivers on the promises he made to them.
The president, however, dismissed the claims as he assured them of his support. Trans Nzoia Governor George Natembeya and Mumias East MP Peter Selassie are among those who missed the meeting.
Some of us who are present, we were present there not because we subscribe to a government of broad-based government, so to speak. We went there to represent our people, to listen what they have to say, so that we can go tell our people that the person who is occupying the office of the president has told us XYZ.
Elizabeth Mutuku, TV47, Nairobi.
All right, thank you very much, senior political reporter Elizabeth Mutuku. And as she rightfully says, President William Ruto earlier this morning met with Western leaders, among them the governors, and joining us this particular evening just to shed light on what actually happened in this particular meeting is Kakamega County Governor Fernandez Barza. Thank you very much, sir, for gracing us this particular evening. I know you're in the radio side. There are quite a number of questions that are still coming in on our social media platforms, still with Elizabeth Mutuku's interview, but then we'll still continue. But majorly, what is the main agenda in today's meeting with the head of state?
First and foremost, I want to confirm that we received invitations 2 days ago to attend the meeting.
Okay.
And the main objective was the president was updating the Western leaders on some of the programs and the projects which he's implementing through his agenda. Mm-hmm. We also had an opportunity as leaders to just bring up some of the programs which is a follow-up of the visit he had in Western in the month of February. Mm-hmm. And so largely the meeting was a meeting that is discussing development agenda for the Western region. Right. Every members of the National Assembly, the governors were present, were able to bring up some of the issues which we believe should be given priority.
Okay.
On development agenda.
Right.
Yeah.
Could you probably list to us this number of...
Well, for example, the issue that was cutting across is the question of roads. Mm-hmm. Most of the constituencies don't have bitumen roads which are completed.
Okay.
The president committed himself to complete some of the roads which had already been earmarked for completion. In Kakamega, one of the other flagship projects that we highlighted was the completion of Buhungu International Stadium.
Yeah.
As you may be aware, Kakamega is actually a cathedral football. Mm-hmm. And we are looking at the president completing that stadium in readiness for AFCON 2027.
Right.
So he committed himself through the Ministry of Sports that we are going to partner so that the balance of works can be completed by June 2026. Mm-hmm. The other program is project is the Kakamega Referral Hospital, level 6 facility, where we are again working with the Ministry of Health just to make sure that that hospital is taken over by the national government, because this is a very big facility, and by classification, level 6 hospitals are national government projects. So that again came out. Issues of the gold refinery that is being constructed in Kakamega again came up. So basically it was a follow-up of the programs, and just to make sure that some of those programs are actually put in the budget, either supplementary 3 or the main budget for 25-26 financial year.
Right.
Yeah.
From what our senior political reporter Elizabeth Mutuku was reporting was that the allocation of positions in the Western region There's some soundbites that you have had, some leaders saying they are not enough. As a leader of Kakamega County, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, my thoughts on this is the government reorganization is continuous.
Okay.
We are aware that we still have parastatals that are supposed to be filled. We are yet to see a complete list of the ambassadors and high commissioners.
Right.
So we believe with the database that we have and the potential that Kakamega and the entire Western region has, most of our people are going to be considered. So it came up, of course, in terms of getting us more positions.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, taking cognizance of the fact that Kenya is bigger. We also don't want to be too selfish.
Mm-hmm.
But as it were, we are still pushing for more.
So as it stands, they're not enough, the positions the Western region has in the government?
Looking at the numbers, yes, the position not enough.
Okay.
And that one it was put very clear to the president, and of course, he promised to look at it.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about and you had rightfully said the last time the president was in the Western region, that was way back around in February, and we have seen quite a number of visits in the Western region.
Mm-hmm.
Also, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga also touring the region. Talk about the stronghold that Raila Odinga even holds at the moment around that particular region.
Yeah, what I can confirm here and now is that ODM is very strong in Kakamega.
Okay.
Indeed, in Kakamega County, we are the majority party. ODM is very strong in Busia, again the majority party. And ODM is very strong in Vihiga.
Mm-hmm.
So in Western region, I can confirm to you that the soft handshake between BAMBA and Dr. William Samoei Ruto is going to at least consolidate the region on development and, of course, future political realignments.
All right.
Yeah.
The Luhya unity has, for years on end, had this term, elusive Luhya unity. As you definitely talk about the stronghold of even having more ODM members. Talk about the Luhya elusive unity. Is this something that you're going to see progressively? That term eroding?
I think to a certain extent, I may want to differ because mm-hmm. I remember in 2002, the Luhya nation, they actually voted for Mwai Kibaki and then Vice President, the late Omolo Kijana. At that time, there was no issue of the elusive Luhya unity. What we are trying to tell our people is we need at least to just let the local politics not affect our national agenda.
Okay.
We are trying to make sure that we consolidate people around a common agenda, because when you have unity of purpose, then you'll be taken seriously, because yes, you have the numbers. And for your information, the numbers that we have, we're almost 8 million strong, although are spread all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can consolidate those numbers, then we'll make a very serious political movement in the future, and will become the attractive partner, if at all, for purpose of negotiation.
All right.
So the agenda that we are telling our people right now, let's forget about our local differences.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the national discourse, we have a united front. But of course, you also have to be clear that democracy is there. People are free also to give their own views. So in as much as we are pushing for consolidation to a larger extent, but we make a provision for one or two individuals who have divergent views, because Kenya is a democratic nation.
Right.
Yeah.
Still on the whole unity perspective,
yeah.
What are your thoughts on the Tawe movement by Governor George Natembeya? Your thoughts on Tawe movement as a unifying factor?
What I can confirm to you is this Tawe movement thing is just in Trans Nzoia.
Okay.
I can confidently tell you there's no Tawe in Kakamega.
Do you so do you have fears that it might actually progress into Kakamega?
No, we don't have fears per se, because when you look at Kakamega, we only have one elected member of parliament on the DAP ticket. And one thing I can confirm to you is there are no fears at all. The coming together of Raila Amolo Odinga and Dr. William Ruto, I can confirm to you that to a large extent, the Western region is going to consolidate the numbers together.
Right.
Save for a few pockets of Tawe that we cannot ignore, let's say in Trans Nzoia.
From where you sit, do you think that Governor Natembeya is working with Gachagua? And just looking at where we are right now, 2025, we are heading into 2027 elections. What kind of effect will this have?
I think where I sit, I cannot really speak for Governor Natembeya, whether he's working with Gachagua or not. That one is a question that I'll plead you invite him here so that I can give you his perspective.
All right.
Yeah.
But then now the effect that it has, either he's working with him or not, but then the effect that it may have when it comes to the Western unity. Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has been a Deputy President. He definitely has his own followers. Even in the Western region, he campaigned with President William Ruto in the run-up to the 2022 election, so he definitely has what it takes to woo the crowd. Do you foresee this kind of effect when it comes to the run-up to the 2027 elections?
One thing I can confirm to you is Gachagua has no impact at all in Kakamega and the Western region.
Right.
Because the region, as I've said, the two serious political figures in the region is the president, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, and Raila Amolo Odinga.
Right.
And then, of course, the fact that our senior brothers, Wetangula, Musalia, and Oparanya there, I'm pretty confident that the region is going to be consolidated properly in one direction. But of course, we cannot eliminate 2 or 3% of Tawe. Because democracy is also allowed.
Right.
Yeah.
And just to pick up from your statement, before I actually ask about your county, you definitely say the National Assembly Speaker, Moses Wetangula, is there. So you're confirming to us this evening that he's not going anywhere.
No, of course, Wetangula has been very consistent and in terms of supporting the current administration by virtue of being the Speaker of the National Assembly and also being one of the senior leaders in the region. I don't think whether it's going anywhere, in my view.
Right.
Yeah.
Governor, briefly, because I know a number of viewers are asking you about one here, naomba Mheshimiwa Barza tafadhali ongea na Governor mwenza Otichilo malizie njia kutoka Eregi hadi Chavakali. This goes to show that your people are watching you tonight. And they'd really want to know, 2 years in, what would you look at these 2 years and say, I have actually really achieved this, and up to 2027, this is what I plan to achieve. Your people are listening?
Yeah, what I want to report here is I've progressively implemented my 6-point agenda, starting from matters healthcare. At least in every ward, we have a facility, either dispensary or a health center. We're also trying to make sure that we have maternity wings in all the level 4s. Which we have started implementing in various level 4s. Still on healthcare, we are trying to make sure that some of the core projects which my Governor Emeritus started are completed. For example, Butere level 4, I've put in almost 250 million, which is going to be completed soon. Water, we are trying to make sure that the water infrastructure in all water schemes are working to facilitate last mile connection, what we famously call in my region Amase Muriango, which again we are fast tracking. On roads, despite the challenges that we have with the RMLF, that's a conversation that we've been having with the National Assembly. We have allocated money on a few bitumen roads. So far we've done almost 25 kilometers of bitumen roads.
Right.
And for me, that is quite impressive because We have challenges on roads, we have no funds, but at least because of the competing initiative, we can still allocate some money there.
Right.
On education, we've done ECD classrooms in almost all the 60 wards. We confirmed our teachers of ECD on P&P, which is again a milestone.
Okay.
We are trying to, of course, on health, I've already talked about it. In terms of agriculture, last year bought fertilizer. This year we are trying to work with national government to facilitate the last mile distribution of the 80,000 plus fertilizer bags. Of course, through affirmative action again, we are going to have some of the fertilizers we support the vulnerable groups. On the social development, we have strictly bought some assistive devices for PWDs so that at least we make sure they feel part and parcel.
Okay.
We have employed youth, and on industrialization, we are focused to make sure that the organic fertilizer plant in Mumias West is operational.
All right.
That the Madala tea factory in Shinyalu is operational, and the maize milling plant in Lugari is installed, Lugari sub-county. And finally, the dairy plant in Malava is completed and operationalized.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. Ferdinand Barza, he is the Kakamega County Governor. We do appreciate your time for making that you have made here tonight. We do continue with our bulletin, and tonight President William Ruto and former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua allies have clashed on the president's next week's Mount Kenya region tour over the fears of chaos during the tour. Gachagua's allies are concerned that goons might infiltrate the tour, witnessed in the president's Nairobi tour, while Ruto's allies warned the youth not to be misused to cause chaos.
An imposing billboard put up by Mathira MP Eric Wamombi in Karatina town to welcome President William Ruto to the restive Mount Kenya region next week has become a talking point ahead of the president's tour, with allies of the president and former DP Rigathi Gachagua trading barbs amid fears the tour could be rocked by chaos, like it was witnessed during the president's tour of Nairobi County 2 weeks ago.
What we saw also in Nairobi during the president's visit should not be allowed to happen in the mountain. That when he comes, goons join his entourage and they rob people. We saw it in Nairobi. We do not want it around. Let us have peaceful meetings.
Na mimi ninataka kuomba vijana, mtu asitumiwe kukuja kuharibu mkutano wa rais. Mtu akijaribu kukuja kuharibu mkutano wa rais atapambanwa na yeye na mkono wa serikali, si ndio?
Apart from the Nairobi tour, Gachagua's allies draw their concerns on the use of goons allegedly hired by Ruto's allies in 2 barrios, one in Limuru in November last year, where the former DP fled for his life, and a second barrio in Kiamba this month, which the former DP escaped after learning goons were waiting for him.
Wacha nione kwa mikono Rais William Ruto umekaribishwa hapa Murang'a County.
Gachagua's allies have put the president on notice ahead of his visit, reminding him of his betrayal of the region and unfinished projects after impeachment of Gachagua and the removal of Gachagua's allies from House committees.
Nobody should lie to the president, and especially in Nyeri, that the people have moved on. We have moved on, but there is still those, the scars are still there. People are bitter. They still consider that one a betrayal.
No one is going to stop the president from visiting this region. He is the president of the Republic of Kenya, and he is going to reside here in Mathira. The state lodge is here in Mathira, in a village called Wamunyoro.
Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, CS nominee for Public Service Geoffrey Ruku, and other leaders have rallied the region to welcome the president in his first tour of the mountain after 6 months, on a day they inspected development projects in Mbeere North.
Mimi niko hapa area nasunguka hiyo Nairobi siendi huku tukipangana na hii wananchi wa Mbeere North tukingojea rais hamu na hamu. We will welcome him kama shujaa wa taifa letu ya Kenya.
Tuko na program kubwa ya kufufua zile barabara zilikuwa zimekwama katika sehemu hii yote ya Mount Kenya, and across the country.
With expectations high on the tour, especially on stalled projects spread across the region, political analyst Professor Peter Kagwanja says it's too late for the president to win support in the mountain.
Because this is a losing game. Because Mount Kenya, the ideology that enabled him to get to the pinnacle of power in Mount Kenya is gone. That miracle has dissipated. So it's a waste of time to that extent.
Apol Kamau, TV47.
28 minutes past the top of the hour. A quick short break that we're taking. This is the Daily Report. Roda Nyamai is on sign language interpretation. We'll be back in a few. Coming up after the break. Is Kenya Airways back to the radar? We tell you tonight.
Is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's mind. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Clear like the water?
Yes. Should be able to see the other side of the urine. If your urine is colored or has changed color, you cannot see the other side, then you have not taken enough water.
Don't forget regular health checkups. Early detection saves lives.
I want the message be, we can prevent cervical cancer. We prevent cervical cancer in several ways. You have young girls and even somebody who's above that age, you can pay at least every 3 years. Somebody should have a pap smear done.
If you are 40, 45, 50, going upwards, once a year, please go see a doctor. Yeah, it's just for normal routine maintenance.
Welcome back. This is the Daily Report. Now, a cloud of uncertainty hangs over the fate of a Kenyan police officer reported missing in the Caribbean nation of Haiti. Reports from the multinational security support mission claim that suspected gang members launched an attack during a recovery operation. However, a viral video, shall say, making rounds on social media indicate that the officer has been killed and his body still in the custody of the gang. As Sheila Chelangat reports, the National Police Service says it has been notified of the incident and that search and rescue operations are ongoing.
Speculations are rife over the status of a Kenyan police officer in the multinational security support mission in Haiti, reported unaccounted for after they were ambushed in a recovery operation by suspected gang members. The ambush occurred approximately 92 kilometers from Port-au-Prince, as the recovery team were assisting a team that got stuck in a ditch suspected to have been deliberately dug by gangs. And from the incident, the whereabouts of the Kenyan officer still remain unknown. However, according to Reuters, local media reported that the officer was killed, and on social media, videos making rounds show the body of a soldier lying on the ground in bloody uniform, still in the custody of gangs. Human rights groups raising concerns over the safety of the remaining officers and stability of the mission. The National Police Service, on its part, has confirmed receipt of the information of the missing police officer, saying that the MSS, in collaboration with the Haitian National Police, is actively conducting a search and rescue operation to locate the missing officer. This latest incident comes days after the first casualty of the mission, 26-year-old Constable Samuel Tompoi, was laid to rest after being fatally wounded on February 23rd during an operation against armed gangs in the Artibonite region of Haiti. This also comes when the abrupt suspension of the $13.3 million funding by the United States is raising concerns about the sustainability and safety of the peacekeeping efforts in Haiti. Sheila Chelangat for TV47.
Right, still on some sad news here. The family of Amos Langat is appealing for justice following the death of their kin who died after allegedly being shot by a bodyguard attached to State House spokesperson Hussein Mohammed on Sunday evening in Nairobi's Kakamega estate. This story was produced by Colin Spett and voiced by Samira Mohammed.
A somber mood, a broken mother left marooned, shattered by the gruesome murder of her firstborn child, Amos Langat. Amos' mother, Sarah Sengei, is now appealing for justice following the death of her firstborn son, who died after allegedly being shot by Mohammed Yusuf Kenyan, a bodyguard attached to State House spokesperson Hussein Mohammed on Sunday evening in Nairobi's Kawangware estate.
Minaomba serikali asaidie sisi. Baba yake ana uwezo ya kusaidia sisi. Huyu Amos anakuwa mtegemeo yetu. Minalia sana, minalilia serikali asaidie sisi.
According to Amos' dad, they do not know where to begin with the buoyant optimism of Amos landing a job in January this year, now descending to pits of despair following the death of Amos, who was the family's sole provider.
Amos Langat alikuwa kijana ya mimi nategemea yeye kabisa. Wakati niliumia, yeye ndio alichukua mimi hospitali. Hata saa hii niko na pili ya hospitali 100. Na mimi naenda ka check up every month. Mimi naomba serikali asaidie mimi.
This is the family of the 35-year-old is now calling on the government and relevant authorities to expedite the investigations and deliver justice as desired.
Mtoto wangu apate yake. Yeye ndio tegemeo yetu nyumbani. Analipa bisi kila term. Na sina hata ng'ombe ya kukamua. Mimi naandika maziwa, yeye ndio analipia mimi. Mimi naomba serikali afanyie yeye haki kabisa.
Tunataka afisa wa polisi atibiwe kulingana na sheria ya serikali. Kwa vile aliua mwananchi ambao ana hatia yoyote. So tunaomba serikali atutendee haki.
Samira Mohammed for TV47, Nairobi.
Right. Meanwhile, tension remains high in Loruk, Baringo County, after bandits raided a Korean village in Sibilo location, Semusoi, last evening, stealing 40 goats. Authorities report that police officers managed to recover 38 of the stolen livestock. This latest attack comes just days after Loruk Chief Victor Sebei was shot dead in what police described as crossfire between officers and bandits. And as Lennox Sangrena reports, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has challenged his critics on his competency as the Cabinet Secretary. And this particular story by Lennox will definitely be going to show you how this particular fight for bandits in that particular North Rift. Meanwhile, former Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waititu will remain in prison for another month as he awaits a ruling on whether he can amend his appeal the 588 million cash shillings graft case. Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka led a group of lawyers and successfully tried to secure bail for Waititu today. Chichi Josephine with more.
Former Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waititu dealt a big blow as he will be forced to remain in prison for at least another 1 month awaiting consideration of his second application for bond. Justice Lucy Njuguna on Wednesday set April 23rd, 2025 for ruling on whether the former governor will be allowed to amend his bond application.
Yes, you deliver the ruling on 23rd of April at 9 a.m.
On 3rd March, Justice Lucy Njuguna dismissed Waititu's bond application, thereby forcing him to file the same application before Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Division Court.
The amended document as indicated, all that we did, you can look at that application from page 11 to the end. All that we did is to add the additional grounds raised in the supplementary in the amended petition of appeal.
I've heard Mr. Kibe's submission, which are quite interesting.
Yes.
Because he says that they are withdrawing
yes.
2
yes.
in the application of the 14.
Yes.
Now, is the cumulative effect of that they are also withdrawing the similar prayer, which is prayer 3, the application of 18th of March.
In February, Waititu was sentenced to 12 years in prison or pay a fine of 53 million shillings after being found guilty of illegal awarding of tender when he served as Kiambu governor. His legal team is pushing to introduce new arguments in his appeal. Chichi Josephine, TV47.
Right. The Independent Election and Boundaries Commission selection panel has completed the scheduled interviews for candidates shortlisted for the chairpersonship, paving way for 105 commissioner candidates vetting for this Thursday. And as Micah Gongo reports, a section of candidates interviewed for chairperson position will also feature commissioners' interviews as they try their luck to lead the electoral body 28 months before the general election.
Then they are transmitted to the constituency.
After 3 days of tough questions and deliberations among the chairperson candidates and IEBC selection panel, the dice is cast as the panel now shifts focus to commission candidates starting Thursday. In reference to the Cherera 4 case in 2022, Lilian Waji Kumanagan promised to change the electoral agency's constitution to prevent commissioners from withdrawing before results are declared.
Does the chair have the absolute right to declare the presidency when the other 6 commissioners are saying that is not the proper trading? We need to have the law looked into and probably amended to actually the law provides that for you to make a decision it should be more than half, that is 4 out of 7. But in terms of presidential results, it is said that there seems to be a contradiction.
According to Wanjiku, this will foster openness and increase the Commission's credibility with Kenyans during the next general election and moving forward. IEBC chairperson hopeful, assistant lawyer Robert Akumu Asembo defended himself before the panel, insisting that some of the cases he had battled in the past had been settled amicably, as he promised to provide evidence to that effect.
Case for forgery has not been reported anywhere. It is just in that allegation.
It's just in that letter.
Asembo, however, countered that legal issues should not be a requirement for judging whether he was a qualified candidate, accusing the panel of unfairly chastising him.
If we were to make this decision, don't you think that we would be in gross violation as a panel of Chapter 6 of the Kenyan Constitution?
I do not think so, Chair, because there are allegations that need to be convincing, and also I am controverting. So you have to be fair to both my accusers and me also. I think you are a fair panel. You consider also me the accused.
As the final candidate to address the panel, Saul Simiyu outlined his goals for the IEBC future, placing a strong emphasis on integrity, transparency and re-establishing public confidence in the electoral body. If considered for the top IEBC position to replace the late Wafula Chebukati, Simiyu said he would announce presidential results on the election night, as he confidently blamed previous delays on the technology issues.
That's why I'm having this proposal that instead of using one line of communication to relay results from every part of this country.
With the conclusion of chairperson candidates' interviews, selection panel chairperson Nelson Makanda assured Kenyans that they shall incorporate integrity and transparency in the process to select the next chairperson.
The panel wishes to reaffirm its commitment to the continued conduct of the remaining recruitment process with utmost impartiality, fairness, and transparency.
After they appeared for chairperson interviews, both Joy Brenda Masindem Divo and Rastas Donge the Con are also scheduled to appear before the panel for commissioner vetting. Other notable candidates for the commissioner's position include Registrar of Political Parties Ann Njeri Nderito, former Kenya Secondary Schools Association Kesha chairperson Alfred Indimoli Kahi, IEBC Director of Legal and Public Affairs Crispin Otieno Owiye, and Joseph Kipchumba Katwa Kigen, the attorney who represented President William Ruto at the Hague-based International Criminal Court ICC in 2011. Once the chairperson interviews concludes on Wednesday, the panel will now shift focus to 105 commissioner candidates, with their interviews scheduled to run until April 24th, 2025. Mike Kagwango, TV47, from South Sea, Nairobi.
Right, that is our newsroom chairman, Mike Kagongo, reporting on the chairmanship position of IEBC. Thank you for that, Mike. Now, Mount Kenya University held a send-off ceremony for the third cohort of students who are expected to depart on Friday for Germany. The cohort will receive healthcare training in German hospitals under the nursing apprenticeship program at Hochschule Koblenz University of Applied Sciences in Germany. The program aims to address the growing demand for healthcare workers, offering a pathway for Kenyans to work in Germany. According to Mount Kenya University Vice-Chancellor, Professor Deogratius Jaganyi, the students will receive a salary during the training and acquire full-time employment after completing the training in Germany. The chairman of Council of Mount Kenya University, Vincent Gaitho, encouraged more students to enroll for the preparatory certificate course in MKU, as there are more job vacancies in Germany, pointing out that the university is seeking for more job opportunities in other courses for the students in and out of the country.
We have partners in Germany and partners in Austria for nursing, and we are sure that it's not ending today. We have got there's a lot of demand. The only thing that is needed is for them to be able to speak German fluently.
Viongozi wetu hutembea nchi hizi sana. Wanaenda benchmarking. Na kuna kitu wanaleta. They like ni kama wanaenda tu kujiangalilia, lakini hawaleti mambo ambayo yanaleta mabadiliko. Sasa tunasema hawa vijana ni wachanga. Pia wakienda pale, as they repatriate whatever they earn, as they do remittance, walete pia behavior of order and good systems that work there. We can also adopt them here.
So we already started to figure out a lot of ways, reasons why getting people to Germany is so difficult. But we've also gotten we've been able to solve some of these problems, and we will continue solving this problem in order to increase the opportunities for more and more young Kenyans to go to Germany.
It is a great feeling to be on the third cohort. We have the first and the second cohort, which have set standard for us. And now what we can say is for us, this group and I, is to set the standard even much higher.
Go to Germany and get the good behaviors and good education from them, and come back to Kenya, back to my community, back in Isiolo County, and help in the infrastructure, hospital, and help those who cannot be able to get this great opportunity.
Right. And tension remains high in Luruk, Baringo County after bandits raided a Korean village in Sibilo location, Simosoi, last evening, stealing 40 goods. Authorities report that police officers managed to recover 38 of the stolen livestock. This latest attack comes just days after Luruk Chief Victor Sebei was shot dead in what police described as crossfire between officers and bandits. And as Lennox Sengrena reports, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has challenged his critics on his competency as the CS.
The situation in the North Rift remains dire. Just last evening, bandits raided a Korean village in Sibilo location, Simosoi, making away with 40 livestock. A police report indicates officers managed to recover 38 of the stolen goods. Last week, Luruk Chief was gunned down in what police say was a crossfire between officers and bandits. The attackers continue to unleash terror on locals, undeterred by the presence of security forces stationed in bandits-prone areas.
Realized that there was an upsurge of banditry issues in Samburu County, and it was taking a very complex direction, especially because of the proximity to Isiolo County.
In a rejoinder, CS Kipchumba Murkomen, who toured the region alongside Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja, linked the surge in banditry across Baringo, Samburu, Laikipia, Isiolo and Turkana counties to unresolved administrative boundaries.
I want to say this without fear of contradiction, that we are not going to cede any part of this republic to any criminal.
Murkomen has faced mounting criticism since taking over the interior docket, with a surge in both banditry and Al-Shabaab attacks, fueling insecurity across the region.
It's the idea that each one of us is seeking for personal glory. You know, you want to be the guy here, you do some field PR here and there, you're taking a few pictures here and there, and then it is praised that it was your job.
Lennox Sengre, TV47, Nairobi.
Right, so even as we continue to call for matters peace, listen to this. The National Cohesion and Integration Commission, that is NCIC, and the Institute for Economics and Peace, IEP, have signed a memorandum of understanding in a significant move aimed at promoting sustainable peace and cohesion. The partnership aims to leverage the expertise of both organizations to promote sustainable peace initiatives across the country. The NCIC plans to implement programs that address the root causes of conflict and promote harmony among diverse communities. NCIC chairperson expressed optimism about the collaboration, stating that MOU is a crucial step towards ensuring peaceful coexistence in Kenya.
That we wish to use that framework to help the NCIC to achieve the objectives of the transgenerational conversations and also capacity build NCIC staff on the same concept of positive peace framework that's going to help our country with those town hall meetings and also make sure that people are peaceful and they use our framework in peace building activities across the country and beyond.
You all recall during the last financial year finance bill, there were protests from different generations. And NCIC came up with a campaign that we dubbed the Transgenerational Conversations. It is within these transgenerational conversations that we sought partners that we can be able to implement this roadmap also, so that we bring different generations to the table So this is the kind of platform that we look to partner in, so that we're able to bring in all the generations to have meaningful discussion.
It's calling on the work of NCIC towards broadening the conversation.
To business news now, and fleet expansion for the national carrier Kenya Airways may be compromised in the coming year, despite a profit turnaround for pre-pandemic numbers. This is according to Kenya Airways CEO Alan Kilavuka, who says the market-wide shortage of aircraft will heavily influence fleet changes, with the airlines still cautious with newer models. Despite this, Kilavuka says by 2030, the subscale airline will be able to double capacity, revenue and cargo.
Kenya Airways has reported a remarkable turnaround, posting an after-tax profit of 5.4 billion shillings for the financial year ending 2024, a 124% increase from a loss of 22.6 billion the previous year.
Now that's why we're saying our strategy going forward is growth, not shrinkage anymore, because of the potential that we see in the market. So potential is huge. I mean, we expect that by 2030, we should have at least doubled our capacity. We should have doubled our revenue. We should have doubled our cargo. So we will be doubling a lot of the things that we're doing today. So there's a huge capacity, is what I'm trying to say, and you know, we're excited about what the market is there to offer us.
This success attributed to increased passenger numbers, while operating profit surged by 58%. Despite a 9% rise in total costs due to capacity growth, the airline effectively managed expenses. Passenger numbers grew by 4%, reaching 5.23 million, and capacity offered increased by 10%.
I think that there is a big shortage of aircraft in the market. It is huge shortage of aircraft.
Yeah.
And that is going to dictate our plans going forward. So of course, you know, we had plans on how to roll out our fleet plan. It was very clear. Now it is based on availability. So we are snapping everything that we can get from the type of aircraft that we fly.
Yeah.
Because we want to make sure that we don't overexpose ourselves in new types of aircraft. So, you know, if you get a 737 or 787, we are snapping them up. But of course, there's a lot of competition in the market. There's sometimes even a bidding contest of various different airlines, because whatever is in the market is being taken up very, very quickly.
However, despite this complete turnaround, global aircraft shortages may influence a slowdown in fleet expansion, forcing the national carrier to adjust its strategies according to market availability. Hibak Said for TV47.
Thank you, Hibak, for that. Now, the growing cyber crime threats in the country could be an opportunity for young professionals to get employed, as Kenya remains the country with the highest number of cyber crimes in the continent. Yes. The Communications Authority CEO David Mugonyi now says Kenya is now recording at least 860,000 cyber attacks in a year, signaling the effects of professional shortfalls in the continent.
We have like 14 institutions alone which claim to be cyber secure, meaning that 86% of institutions, nobody can say they are cyber secure. So you see, you have serious opportunities to work in this cyberspace. In addition to that, we are helping the country connect most places which do not have internet and such like. So that means when you connect more people to the internet, it means more attacks. So we need more people in this cyber industry to help those people so that they can be secure in that environment.
This is built on the other area of cybersecurity, the capacity building.
We have also provided for the government and the private and the ICT officers that we have taken recently the cyber training in the village for the south of Kenya through the digitrack.
That is on Matters Business. Before we get into Matters Sports, let's take a look at this story. After his reassignment this evening, Duale has promised to transform the ailing health sector. He spoke this evening during an iftar dinner. Listen
in. I am now the Minister for Health. And I want to leave with you a statement that the prosperity of any nation depends on the health of its people. The prosperity of any nation depends on the health of its nation. And I want to commit tonight, because this is my first public gathering since the President assigned me these new duties. I want to commit to the people of Kenya, just like I did in my 18 years, 19 years public service. I will not work for myself. I will work for the people of Kenya, and I will work on how to improve their health care. Thank you.
Right, that is the Cabinet Secretary nominee of Health, and just giving his a fast kind of speech saying what he is definitely going to be doing in that particular very, very important sector that all Kenyans are looking at, particularly in Matters Shah. It is just a minute to 10 p.m. East African time. We're taking a short break, but remember, big conversation tonight. As a young person listening to us this morning, chances are you are listening to us because 75% of Kenya's population is of the youth. What do you want when it comes to politics? That is a question for you. We're taking a short break, come back with Matters Sports, and then get into this big conversation. Don't go too far.
Coming up after the break. The Kenyan political landscape is fast changing. But what do the youth want? We have that discussion after the break.
Is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's minds. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
Sports News brought to you by Maybets. Join Maybets leo upate free bet papo hapo. Fanya hivi, chagua home team to win, yani number 1 au draw X, au away team tu kwa game ya siku ya free bet. Weka namba yako ya simu, weka password ya account yako, chagua submit free bet. Utapata free bet kwa account yako ya Maybet. Usisahau kuverify account yako. Kama hutakuwa verified, utapoteza free bet yako after 2 days. Betting is strictly for 18 years and over. Play responsibly. Terms and conditions apply. BCLB number 000578.
Maybet na minia na najishindia. Pesa inavutia, pesa inavutia.
Right, welcome back. This is the Daily Report. Roda Nyama is on sign language interpretation. I'm yours truly, Stanley Nyaringita. We get into matters sports, and then later on, as I told you, in case you're just joining us, our big conversation tonight, what the youth want when it comes to matters politics. But first, Bandari FC are looking up to maximum points as they prepare to welcome Ulinzi Stars at the match day 25 of the Football Kenya Federation Premier League at the Mbaraki Stadium in Mombasa County. The Dockers are currently 9th on the log with 33 points. Inside 24 matches they have played this season and are looking up to win back-to-back matches after defeating Sofapaka 1-0 in their last outing.
Tuna imani tunapofikia mwisho wa season tutakuwa katika position nzuri, tutamaliza vizuri na Mwenyezi Mungu pia inshallah akitujalia tuweze pia at least kutoka na silverware. Bado matumaini yako juu na tuna imani hilo linawezekana.
Katika mashindano ya Mozart ambayo pia tuna imani kwamba mechi itakayokuja dhidi ya Gor Mahia tuweze kufaulu hapa nyumbani ili tuweze kuweka hatua ya kusonga mbele.
Tukipata basi kitapunguza gharama nyingi pia naye. Sababu mara nyingi pia naye watu wanapandishwa train, wanakwenda wenmini, lakini tukiwa na basi yetu at least tutaweza kutoka mapema, tukafika mapema, tukapumzika, tukatrain. Wakati wa mechi sisi tuko sawa kabisa. Na hiyo ni uhakikisho mimi nimetoa mwenyewe na najua inawezekana.
Right. Some matters diplomacy and matters sports. Kenya and Serbia have agreed to develop a memorandum of understanding and fast-track exchange of programs aimed at fostering talent development and talent scouting in different sports. The program will offer opportunities to athletes from both countries to access training facilities and technical expertise. Serbian athletes will access the high-altitude training camps across the country. The Central European country is well known for producing top athletes in football, basketball, volleyball, tennis and water polo. Sports CS Salim Mvurya earlier today held talks with the Serbian ambassador to Kenya, Denizela Kubrilo, at Talanta Plaza in Nairobi.
And Serbia is also very strong on matters sports. We have a lot of international players, especially in basketball, in volleyball, and Kenya is also very strong on matters athletics. And what we want to explore are the opportunities of training our youth in Kenya and the youth in Serbia.
Me as ambassador, our embassy and our authorities are looking forward to continue our discussions in order to find the areas where we can concretely cooperate. Creative economy, as you rightly said, are priorities for both of our countries.
And meanwhile, preparations for the Rift Valley Regional Primary School competitions are ongoing in Elgeyo Marakwet County, where the games set to kick off from the 27th of April this year in Bomet County. Elgeyo Marakwet will be represented by 184 athletes from different primary schools, with organizers calling upon the government to increase funding, which will help in developing the talents of children in schools.
Tarajia kwamba tutafanya vyema sana. Ile changamoto yenye tuko nayo ni mambo ya fedha inayotuzuia tusiwachukue wanafunzi wengi, sababu ile capitation tunapewa haitoshi activities zote.
Nakimbia 400 na 800 na najitrainia mwenyewe, nafanya mazoezi mwenyewe, najitrainia mwenyewe kwa nyumbani na shule, lakini sina coach. Ningeomba wanisaidie na coach anisabot kwa mambo ya viatu na ni manage venye nimefika.
Nilikimbia Chepsaita, nikakimbia Eldoret, Chepara na Kamoi.
And Bernard Chelule walked away with a life-changing prize of 13,725,565 cash shillings after he hit an impressive 13 out of 13 the midweek SportPesa jackpot. Chelule, who has been betting since 2016, was treated to an exclusive VIP treatment alongside his wife in this year's edition of the WRC Safari Rally held in Naivasha. This latest win adds to the series of triumphs witnessed in this year's midweek SportPesa jackpot that has been won 3 times in each month. Wilson Mwangi, a businessman from Githurai, celebrating his own victory in February, taking home 17 million cash shillings after also hitting 13 out of 13. Additionally, in January, 2 other lucky players registered a joint win, with each sharing a prize of 11 million cash shillings.
– 2016-2017, but sijai win anything major. Nimekuwa nikishinda nikijaribu, but hata kupana bonus ni ngumu. Mpaka unaonanga sometime, ni ukweli hiki kitu hapa si ukweli. So hiyo siku niliwekelea tu came na 99 shillings peke yake. Nikapata tu usiku tu nikatumia message. Ni congratulations, sikuamini. Nikaona kama ni scam, ni ukweli. Mpaka nikaenda kwa account yangu ya SportPesa kwa app, nika-confirm ni ukweli.
Right. And Kenyan professionals, amateurs and elite juniors, both men and women, will now have a chance to play regular golf throughout the year for the next 3 seasons. This is after sports marketing agency IMG Kenya signed a 3-year contract with the South Africa-based Sunshine Tour. This will also create a platform for the players to win prize money almost every month. The Sunshine Development Golf Tour East Africa Swing will include 10 to 15 events and deliver official world golf ranking points, which are crucial for qualification for the Olympic Games. Ahead of the tour, the Sunshine Tour and IMG have organized a qualifying event from 30th of March to 2nd of April at Windsor Golf Hotel and Country Club. The 4-day competition has a prize kitty of 1 million cash shillings. The tour will be instrumental in preparing local pros and amateurs for the annual Magical Kenya Open Golf Championship.
Sports News brought to you by Maybets. Join Maybets leo upate free bet papo hapo. Fanya hivi, chagua home team to win, yani number 1 au draw X au away team 2 kwa game ya siku ya free bet. Weka namba yako ya simu, weka password ya account yako, chagua submit free bet. Utapata free bet kwa account yako ya Maybets. Usisahau kuverify account yako. Kama hutakuwa verified, utapoteza free bet yako after 2 days. Betting is strictly for 18 years and over. Play responsibly. Terms and conditions apply. BCLB number 000578.
Maybet na minia na najishindia. Pesa inavutia, pesa inavutia.
Right. Tonight on the Daily Report, we talk about state of politics and we get the perspective of the youth. Tonight, we're joined by 6 young people who are definitely very instrumental when it comes to, well, university politics, as well as even the national politics. They have carved their own niche, and they'll be telling us tonight what is their role in politics. Do they even understand the importance of the young people when it comes to politics? This conversation is also going out to you. As a young person, what do you want to see when it comes to Kenya's politics? I'll introduce themselves. They'll also introduce themselves real quick, just briefly. Timothy Turunga, President, Youth for Pwani, the very far end. Remi Osoti is the President, Multimedia University of Kenya. Dr. Kweyo Isaka, policymaker. James Mulamba, he's an activist, as well as Omari Omoyo, youth leader from Kisii. And Consolata Oweru, youth leader, Laikipia. Karibuni sana. Allow me to start with the only lady. They say ladies first. So I'll start with you from Laikipia. I hope what to Laikipia they're watching us tonight. First of all, in the previous elections, did you participate?
Thank you very much. I am happy to be here. I am Consolata Waweru. I want to say that I was actively involved. In fact, I was an agent and I was also a voter as well. Okay. And I was very much aware of the current affairs of the country. I even remember me telling the people of Laikipia in my social media accounts that they vote for good leaders. And I never knew that 5 years later, I would also want to go there and be in the ballot so that they elect me as the woman representative. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So did they listen to you when you're telling young people you need to participate in this? Did they listen to you?
Yes, I did that. In fact, I am a youth leader also in my home area, and I played a very big role, even in my church. And I did this by advising the old people, our parents, our grandmothers, our moms and dads at home. And I told them, let us look at this manifesto and let us not elect people based on the party, but let us elect people based on their manifesto and what they are bringing to the table.
Right. So allow me to open now the floor again to the gentleman. Even as you also start on the same, Mulamba, you're looking at me, smiling. Did you also participate in this particular 2022 elections?
Yes, I did vote in the 2022 elections. I know this is a surprise because most young people did not vote.
Yes.
And they had given politics a wide berth for a long period of time. I am happy now that the Kenyan youth have awoken and they are no longer disengaged and disconnected from the political discourse of this country. I think I got into politics as early as 2016. I remember being fascinated by the national politics because I thought that the leaders we had then and the sole business of leaders is to improve the livelihoods of the people of their constituency, county, say, and the entire country. But the shocker got to me when I realized that these guys are only looking out for themselves so that probably they can amass as much wealth as they can get so that the current and the present economic situations do not apply to them and their families. So I remember warning folks against voting in William Ruto and his deputy who's since impeached. But Kenyans being Kenyans still voted in this guy. And we're in this problem together.
Right.
Those of us who didn't vote for him and those that still voted for him.
Right. Turunga, the same question from all the way from Pwani. Did the young people from Pwani, first of all, did you vote in the 2022 elections? And the people from Pwani University, because you really, Pwani region, because you really represent them as well. Did they see the need to even participate in these elections?
That's a very good question. In the last election, I was actively involved because I was active in the campaigns and all that. Personally, I voted as an individual. And when it comes to youth, I feel like the past years, even though that as the youth, we are the majority, which is 70% of our population, before, the youth did not focus more on when it comes to elections and all that, or who will be elected and who won't be elected. But then now we are seeing a shift of that wave, and now the youth are more concerned about the leaders that we have. The youth are also raising their voices on the issues that they feel that the government is oppressing the citizens. Right. The youth are the ones who are the official position as of now.
Okay.
Yes.
So did you vote?
Yes, I did vote.
You voted, all right. In Kisii, Omari Omoyo, did you vote in the elections?
Yes, early in the morning, 5 a.m. I was in the polling station.
So all of you voted? Okay. Omari, continue, yes?
Yes, at 5 a.m. I remember back in 2022, I went to vote.
Okay.
Vote to the leader who I felt like we move Kenya to the next level.
All right.
I did my singular duty, which was the first mandate as a youth in 2022. The second role I did was to educate the youth on the importance of voting, and not only voting, but voting the right leaders.
All right. Rebi.
Yes.
Even as you also, represent people from Multimedia University, there are quite a number of youth who probably also did not vote. So far, I'm getting yes, yes, yes. Is it also a yes for you?
I have to say, in the last election, I was an official, I was a clerk.
Okay.
And yes, I did vote, but there was a funny trend when it came to voting.
Okay.
The least people who turned out to vote were the youths. In fact, it was painful to see a youths who were not even aware of whatever was taking place. In fact, to some point, you would see the agents and the politicians trying to make rounds, trying to make phone calls, trying to reach out to these youths to make their way to the polling station so that they would vote. So I would say that yes, some voted, some participated, but there was least participation of the youths in the last election, and we anticipate that maybe in the next election they would be out. So as an official, I observed that there was least turnout of the youths, and the youths were not even aware of what was taking place. In fact, they were saying, if our parents have voted, then they were busy taking care of other duties or things at various places.
Right. I saved this last for Daktari. He's a policymaker. Definitely understands how this particular trends work, as Remy puts it. Daktari Kweyu Isaka, you saw how the youth participated in the 2022 elections. The run-up to that, the conversations that young people have and even had, you're a young person yourself, and even in your circles, what people were saying before and even after. What did you make of that? Before now we actually focus on what 2027 holds for the young people.
Thank you so much for having me today. I'd say that most young people in this country are disillusioned with the politics. They tend to think that politics is a game of the elite. And this is by design. Why do I say it is by design? Those who got us before us have made it to look like a game of the elite. You look at how people are selected, people are elected, people are appointed, people are nominated, and psychologically, any young person will believe that maybe they have not attained the age or the capacity in terms of finances or connections to participate in politics by looking for positions, by putting the right people in the right positions.
To some extent, do you think they are right?
Yes, I'm saying they are not. They have been positioned there by design because of the political elite.
Okay.
But somehow they are not right, because look at this. If I use an example, sometimes politics feels like an exclusive VIP club where the young people are stuck outside and struggling with the bouncers to get in. What they don't know is that they are we lead by numbers, and therefore the bouncers are few, and we can get in the club by force and actually even control which music plays. We can control the prices of the drinks in this club. That means we can control the taxes, we can control even the prices of data bundles.
And however, Consolata, I'd like you to chime in on this. He talks about and gives this analogy of storming into this club, and the bouncers are this political elite who the young people can actually storm and decide which kind of music plays.
Yes.
But then people and this political elite would argue, but you do not know how this music should be played. Yes, you know the music will be played, but you do not know how it should be played. Do you agree?
I don't agree. I think I would like to say this. These people have been there. You know, we say according to Article 260 of the Constitution, it says youth are between the ages of 18 and 34 years. And since time immemorial, since independence, we have seen these people. Imagine people have ruled Kenya are of ages of 40 and above, maybe 50, 60s, and that is very evident even now. And I'm asking myself, what change are we waiting for? I mean, over 50 years they have been there. Why can't they let us control the music?
But someone, and Remy, even as you came in on this, someone would ask, okay, fine, we have given you a platform. We have seen young leaders who have been there in this particular country, leaders who have been elected as young as 23, as young as 24, in the mid-20s. But the big question would be, what kind of change have they brought in? As a young person, have you seen any eligible change, any tangible change that a young person has brought to this country?
Thank you so much. I want to say categorically that it's high time that's the way you're saying, that we must now be at the dinner table. We must not be the dinner to be here at that table.
Okay.
And in my quest to put that on, I want to say that the youth are equal to the task. The only problem that we have as a nation is the old archaic belief that the youths are too young and inexperienced to lead particular dockets. And even when you do appointments and you check the results that were done even today in the government, you see it's very less for the youth. Then it means we've not been given that opportunity to showcase whatever that we can do, to present whatever that the youth are capable of. Immediately that is presented to us, or the youth are presented with that one, then we can be able to judge whether they equal to the task or not. Okay. But until then, we'll be speaking of speculations, rumors, hearsay, and innuendos. But then as the time goes by, give us these opportunities and see whatever these youth are capable of. Until then, we'll be speculating whatever the youth can be doing.
All right. Mulamba, this, and I love the fact that you brought up the positions, because yes, definitely, today we did see the cabinet reshuffle. Mulamba, I know you definitely want to chime in on this, largely, but then the role of the young people, even being, advised, and the young people giving their voice on the kind of, cabinet secretary that they would want. Will that work? Even you as Mulamba being told, what kind of a cabinet secretary for health would you want? Do you think that will actually work?
Pardon?
I'm asking, do you think your voice would count when it comes to the decisions that the head of state would make when it comes to the cabinet reshuffle? If you as Mulamba, as a young person, would be asked, even the president says, I'm going to be reshuffling. What kind of a cabinet secretary for health would you want me to have? Do you think that would help?
If I get you well, you're asking if the political class would care for our opinion.
Yes.
And how is it that they value whatever we say and if it counts?
Yes.
Well, I will take it as it is here. The political class in Kenya is quick to remind us that we are living in a bubble and the politics we want only exist in utopia. Why, you would ask, is there a disconnect between us and them? The answer is simple, because the young people have a different attitude, they have gone through a different experience, and they have a different disposition towards leadership. This stands in contrast with what the politicians are used to. To them, we are the antithesis. They cannot believe that there is a generation out here that is completely opposite from us, because this is not what they are used to. They are used to zero accountability, a tolerance to corruption. They are used to cronyism. They are used to rewarding their loyal members who probably were unable to clinch positions of power. And they are calling us disrespectful and indisciplined for reminding them that this is not how government is run. Why, you'd ask? Because they see us as a challenger, a possible challenger to the status quo, because this has not happened in a long time. We've contradicted them severally, and we've looked them in the eye and asked for accountability, asked for equitability in the appointments, and asked for meritocracy, things they were not used to. And this peeves them that as young as we are, we understand what is right, and we have the guts to tell them that this is not how things should be done.
Is it
and
working?
They don't care for our opinion.
Is it working? The fact that as a young person you'd actually call out and say, this ABCD is not working, this needs to be corrected, whether on ground, whether on the streets, or even on social media? Do you think so far it is working?
So far we have achieved a lot. I think if the youths did not come out in June last year, we would have the finance bill of 2024 as law today. Because the president was interested in passing that bill, as punitive as it was, to the letter, by hook and crook. And you saw him defending the finance bill, as bad as it was. If the youths did not come out to protest how this government is misruling Kenya, we would have so many bad laws that would affect us into posterity. And if the youths did not come out, I am assuring you that the cabinet reshuffles you have today will not be happening. Okay. And Raila Odinga would not have gotten a chance to negotiate with William Ruto.
Right.
We've effected so much change in the short time that we've put ourselves and thrust ourselves into the limelight of politics. Even though they don't care for our opinion, we have really shaped and reshaped the politics we have in this country. For the first time, our parents and the older generations are looking up to us. This has never happened, that the older generation is looking up to the younger generation as a beacon of sound leadership, because we are saying what is right and what must be done, and we are saying it confidently, and we are not hiding.
Right. So Turunga, does it mean as a young person you'd want to remain on this table and be part of the negotiations that happen, even with the older folk, politicians who have been in this game for so very long, and make these negotiations with them? Or do you just want to add your voice and not be part of this table? Briefly, even as we believe you're supposed to take a short break. In the next 1 minute, we'll be back to for more, but then you can give us your feedback in 1 minute.
Okay, for me, the youth, we are supposed to be on the table and not on the menu. Because we are the majority, and we have proved over and over again that the time is ripe for us to bring the change that we want in our country. You asked a very good question. When it comes to the youthful leaders, what have they done? I can tell you, among the best performing members of parliament are youths. We have Ndindi Nyoro, we have Babu Owino, we have PK Salasia. Those are the members of parliament. Most of them actually is two terms, and Salasia the first term. They have brought change, which even the MPs who have been in that parliament for over 20 years have not able to bring. So what does that tell you? Before, the old folks, they believed in, rather, how am I going to put, they cutting the legs of the younger generations. But then now things are changing. They believed to instill fear in the younger generation, but now things are changing. We are not in an age where we have social media. The youth are opening up, the youth are raising their voices. Now, this is the time, that tells us that the time is right for us as the youth to take over all these leadership positions, and we'll start with these 2027 elections, actually. Not even 2027 elections, the coming by elections, which we have, starting with the one in Embu.
Right.
Yes.
So thank you very much. That particular feedback takes us to a very short break. Gentlemen, lady, keep your thoughts coming in, because when you come back, we'll be opening into this, and particularly even getting into the political parties. Are any of you in one? Do you want to be one, or do you want to remain partyless? And this question goes to you, as a young person out there, wherever you're watching us in Kenya or even globally. What are your thoughts about Kenya's politics, Kenya's state of politics right now? What kind of politics do you want in the country as of now? 0795 045 864. That's the number to call us live. Work a credit sahi. When you come back, call us live and tell us your opinion. You can also text us on WhatsApp 0793 267 279. Don't go too far.
Our world is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's minds. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Clear like the water?
Yes. Should be able to see the other side of the urine. If your urine is colored or has changed color, you cannot see the other side, then you have not taken enough water.
Don't forget regular health checkups. Early detection saves lives.
I want the message be, we can prevent cervical cancer. We prevent cervical cancer in several ways. You have young girls and even somebody who's above that age, you can pay at least every 3 years. Somebody should have a pap smear done.
If you are 40, 45, 50 going upwards, once a year, please go see a doctor. Yeah, it's just for normal routine maintenance.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive.
Right, it is the state of politics. The youth perspective is what you're getting tonight. And Timothy Turunga is the president of Youth for Pwani, the far end. Remy Osoti, right here, the very sharp suit, President MMU. Dr. Kweyu Isaka, policymaker, the very far end. And James Mulamba, just right here next to me. He's an activist. Omario Moyo, with a very sharp red tie. He's a youth leader from Kisii. And Consolata Waweru, youth leader from Laikipia. The first set of this conversation, we got into the participation of young people, and we got into a whole other conversation of the young leaders who we have elected. And I'll throw this to you, Omoyo. Again, as Remy was saying, yes, for the young leaders who have been elected, there are some who have actually, managed to do amazing stuff. But then from where you sit, Omari, do you actually support this particular, what he says?
Specifically, according to me, on youth representation, we have not achieved our target. More so, if you can check the age gap of the youth leaders who are currently in the government, it's about 34 years to 40 years. Actually, that are not youths. That age gap of 34 to 40 years. You can find out that there's a huge gap in youth representation. So also in our government, if you find out even the CS for youth is a person of 60 years, how can he know the issues youths are facing? So it's sad to
talk about the age gap, and this is where I'm getting you, Daktari, for the political class, so that they can actually reduce this age gap. As he rightfully says, you have a 55-year-old politician who lived in a different kind of a generation. But then to woo the young voters, he has to probably even dress down. Even the language he or she uses has to be different. And we've seen this in the run-up to the 2022 elections, as well as even right now. even most of these politicians dress, even how they sing, so that they can actually fit into the young person. They see we actually relate. As a policymaker, do you think this actually has even any effect to this young person and even how they're going to vote?
First of all, I'd like to highlight that I come from Kakamega County. I just saw my governor was around.
Yes.
And that is a very interesting county because we have a young person called Peter Salasia, who many times you've seen the president actually warning him and sidelining him, telling him that he's inexperienced and he knows nothing as far as politics is concerned. That whenever he wants to wear a voice about something and actually real issues on the ground, he's reminded by the elites that you've just been around for a few years. I've been around for so many years, so huwezi niambia kitu.
Yeah.
So the kind of fear or intimidation we are getting, again, the president just had a meeting with the leaders. He says political leaders from Western Kenya. And he has been having those meetings actually. Nowadays, he has them weekly. Because the other week he was in Western doing consultative meeting. Today, he invited the same people to State House again to do consultation. And you did not see serious faces in that meeting. You didn't see any young person in the meeting to talk about what young people are facing. You didn't even see a young member of parliament who is known everywhere in the country in the meeting. You didn't see a serious policy maker called Natembea in that meeting. And personally, I would have preferred that they even did the meeting in a WhatsApp group because the important guy missed the meeting. So that tells you how much what is important and urgent has been ignored, and what is unnecessary and actually not even urgent is being focused on. Yeah.
All right. Consolata, I saw you raising your hand. So even as you also add up to what he was talking about, we have had this tagline for a very long time. Politics is a dirty game. Do you think it is time for the young people to actually change that narrative, or it's going to be a narrative that is going to remain even as young people take up the political mantle?
Okay, so let me first add what Daktari has said, and he has highlighted a very important point. It's so sad that the current folks who are in government, those who are 45 plus, 50 plus, it's so clear that their goal is only their self-interests, not the development agenda. And it's so sad that we saw Honorable Junet Mohammed questioning Ndindi Nyoro's agenda, development agenda. And I was surprised. I mean, that is something that we're supposed to even learn from. And I remember during the former deputy president, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, he once went to Keharo and benchmarked, you can imagine. And of course, when you compare the two, Rigathi Gachagua is a senior compared to Ndindi Nyoro. I think we have already set out the roadmap. And I think if the young people are given a chance, will not be dirty politicking again.
Right.
And there's a reason why PK Salasia is always sidelined. It is because he has always been pointing out the real issues. I saw him also talking about Raila Odinga, that he has been taking the people of Western and Nyanza for a ride, that he has already taken advantage. Every other time, every government that comes in, he has to take advantage. And we have not seen a space for the young people. I mean, it's so sad that in some of these political parties, you see, that the youth spaces are allocated to a 65-year-old.
But then, Consolata, back in June last year, a number of young people came out. And I'd love you, Remy, to answer me on this one. Young people came out and said, first of all, we are tribeless, we are partyless, and we would really want to get out of this, the legacy political parties that have existed for so many years. But the question remains, as a young person getting into politics, will you survive without the political formation?
Thank you so much. I would want to say, just from where she's trying to insinuate, that it's high time that the young people know their space in the political radar. And specifically speaking, I want to say that it was so unfortunate that we were too much onto ourselves that we not realize that it was high time to organize ourselves so that we would have a vehicle that we call a political party or political ladder to make us now be in the political limelight.
So then the young people need a political party?
No, not necessarily a political party, but then even in the existing political party. In fact, political parties are too many in Kenya that if the young people are inculcated to those political parties fully and participate to the better part of their knowledge, then I believe you can make very good...
I would beg to disagree.
Will you want to be in a political party? Do you think young people would actually survive without the political party formation?
We cannot survive without a political party.
Okay.
This is the truth. The current political parties that we have, say ODM, Jubilee, UDA, Wiper, are but kiosks of their party leaders.
Okay.
Basically, what Raila Odinga says in ODM is what flies. That is why they've always kept Babu Owino at bay. Ask yourself why, as a young man as brilliant as Babu Owino has never gotten himself into the party leadership. Because Raila sees Babu Owino as a threat. And that is exactly how they are going to perceive any intelligent young person out there who is a man or a woman of good standing, a man or woman of integrity, and a man or woman who has a vision. And that is the exact reason why William Ruto had to leave ODM in 2007. When he declared he wants to be president, that was challenging Raila Odinga to his face. I know Raila Odinga, you want to be president, but I am challenging this party to hold nominations for the presidential candidates so that we can at least get one candidate from this party. That has never happened before. Raila Odinga has always been the presidential candidate.
Turunga, we have right now, we have definitely seen even young people come out and say, I want to vie to be president. And I challenge you, and he, particular names, challenge the political leaders that we have in the country saying, come 2027, I want to face you in the ballot. But then what they are told is without a political figure A, you will not make it. As a young person, what are your thoughts on this, that you have to cling on a particular political figure to actually make it?
What we have in Kenya, the problem is not the political parties. The problem is the structure that we have in those political parties, where the youth, or rather the political parties, they lack autonomy, where political parties are treated as someone's, or rather a business. You see, we need to change that narrative, because if you look at all the political parties that we have in Kenya, how many young people do you see them in the neck? Actually, you'll be shocked even is 0.1%, or rather even 0%. This is because as a country, political parties, the structure this is the structure that was there before. But then now we are a different generation where we need also to advance to the modern situation of the world, where as a political parties, they should also focus on also the youths. That's also, I encourage our youthful leaders and also the youths to take part in these elections, vie for these positions, because in our constitution, Article 55 is given to the youth.
Would you encourage the young people listening to you to join a political party?
I encourage them to join the political parties, because it is through these political parties that we will get positions to change the narrative of our country.
Right.
Because without a political party, let me give you a life example. When you're in a political party, compared to an independent candidate, when you're in a political party, you have an upper hand. Right. Because for the independent candidate, it will be hard to counter the people in the political party, because there's a structure to the grassroots election. So it's easier to mobilize in a political party compared to you as an independent.
Right. The reason I was asking that is because GeoPoll conducted research last week, on the 17th of this month. And according to GeoPoll, they say the youth comprised 35% of the total membership of political parties in 2022. Right now, it's about 3 years later after 2022. So maybe the numbers have changed, and because we've seen a number of political parties having a drive to, have more members. I don't know, from Omari, from Kisii, as a youth leader, do young people even want to get into political parties?
According to me, there's less enlightenment on the policies, where the first policy is about the formation of political parties. You find out when a political party is formed, it is formed in silence. and there's no enlightenment. For example, I saw yesterday about 6 parties were gazetted, new parties. But you can't know when they were formed. You find there's zero knowledge to youths when the political parties are formed. The second thing, it comes in the party formation. You find youths are given just one seat in the neck, which is the youth representative. And you find out that youth representative is of the age gap of, again, 35 to 40. That's not a youth.
If you would allow me, I would chip in into this, to what my senior is saying, and to what Timothy Turunga was saying. They seem to agree that we need a political party.
Right.
But they seem to get it wrong. They have the disillusion that we joining those political parties, we in a way are going to shape them for the better. This will not work. The current political parties, as I've alluded to before, are owned by these party leaders exclusively. Ask yourself why the Democratic Party or the Republican Party function autonomously. Because the party leaders who founded these parties are long gone. These parties are now driven by ideologies. In Kenya and in Africa, most political parties belong to the party leaders, and they run at the whims and at the behest of the party leaders. That is the problem we have. That even if Kasmuel joined ODM, and myself, if I decided to join Jubilee, Timothy here decides to join DAP, we are not going to change those political parties. In our numbers, we are not going to change them because they were founded by someone and they exist to serve their interests. We need our own political party.
Right. Isaka, and just from what he's talking about, reminds me of YK 92, and a lot of people really refer to it at that. Do you think we are looking at another YK 92, where if young people are getting into either parties they form or existing parties, that they can actually change the structure of how these parties have been run?
I'll begin by saying that one of the gravest mistakes we made on 25th June last year, after occupying Parliament, is that we came back, we retreated, but then we forgot to form a party and have leaders. This was a political process. It was very difficult, and is still very difficult for us to make any move without leaders. If we want to achieve anything in a political process, we must have leadership.
So it was
saying that we are leaderless,
yes,
we are faceless, we are tribeless, we are cashless, then we become useless.
Okay.
We need leaders for us to advance in this political move. But again, for instance, if I was to become the candidate for presidency, the Gen Z candidate for presidency, I'm looking at these political grounds where I have to win the presidential seat, then come back to work with Raila Amolo Odinga. Because this one guy was reached to a point where he enjoys the privileges of being a president by losing elections.
Right.
Whereby when you go to elections, you are only electing somebody who will work with him.
Right.
Even in 2027, people are already looking for somebody who they will elect to work with Raila Odinga.
Right.
So I'm imagining if I'm the Gen Z presidential candidate, and now my stress is coming from a point where I have to win, then work with Raila Amolo Odinga. That makes me sad.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have about 5 exact minutes to wrap this conversation, and I want us to focus on solutions and just take a look at even what other countries are doing. For example, what Norway is doing. They have the Norwegian Children and Youth Council, which really encourages youth participation. There's also South Korea, which has enacted an age reduction policy, which lowers the age limit for seeking public office and voting, and allow young South Koreans to participate in politics. Canada also has this. It has a youth advisory councils at the provincial and federal levels, where young individuals can engage in discussions and advise public policy. This speaks on how countries, mostly in the European countries, have actually taken an upper hand to actually make sure that young people are at the forefront of policy making. I'll start with you, Consolata. The kind of solutions that we should be taking and should be talking right now, do you think such policies will make sense in the country right now? And if so, how should we enact what we are talking about in the European countries in Kenya?
Okay, I think one country we should emulate as Kenyans is United States of America.
Okay.
You heard Donald Trump saying that the youth really played part in him winning the elections. I think that was clearly stated. And he said that the son, of course, gave him advice and all that. But from where I stand, I feel the youth want to join political parties, but they don't know where. Let me just go back to the political parties a little bit. And the reason being the structures that we have in these political parties. You find that you'll not be given a ticket simply because you are not an insider in the party, simply because people just perceive you as a child, as a young person, and therefore they perceive you as you are just a commoner.
Okay.
But I think one solution as young people, I think we have the ability to form our own political parties. And then if one young person forms a political party, I feel we should rally behind him or her. And then later we recruit the old folks. But they should know that we are the ones running the show.
Interesting sentiments there. Remy, solutions?
I think it's high time that my friends here who are speaking like angels from heaven get to know that we've been complaining over and over and over. We've been complaining youths are not inculcated, we're not part of the party, we have not been called to this table. But now the problem is, what are we able to bring when we are called to those tables? It's high time that we fix ourselves. Sometimes no one will sit there and call you to join a political party or be part of that political party. It's you to make sure that you rush and be part of that political party. And then the next thing that we have to do as a nation, we have the National Youth Council. I'm sad to say that even in that National Youth Council, it's made up of adults who are not even youths. However, it's high time that we must now exploit. We must now educate the youths on their role and the importance of them participating in these elections. I can tell you even at the campus level, some even the elections within the university, they don't even participate. Why? Right. They believe that is not their work. I believe formation of political party to this extent, it's not even important. What is important is how are we going to now to move to the already existing political party so that we take part and be of usefulness to those political parties. That is what will be important. And as we move to that moment and as we foresee that one, we must also envision ourselves that how are we going to the grassroots level to educate our people to come up and be part of the political process in Kenya.
Thank you very much. Mulamba, briefly, solutions.
He has preempted me, but I would echo his sentiments. Firstly, I am disappointed that we have a National Youth Council that does not work. The National Youth Council was vibrant during Uhuru's tenure for the 10 years he was president.
Okay.
In came William Ruto, the president who appeared to be a hustler oriented president because, well, most youths are hustlers, according to him. And we thought that this president would really prioritize the issues that are affecting the young people. And we thought that he would revamp the National Youth Council or probably come up with another alternative council that would put views on the global map and on the national map to discuss issues that are affecting this country. That has not happened. The National Youth Council is a shell of its former self.
Right.
And I think if this message gets to the president, well, I'm not his advisor, but I think something should be done to the National Youth Council because out here, that National Youth Council has shaped so many leaders, business leaders and political leaders alike. I also think that we need a political party.
Okay.
That I will reiterate. But then the problem is, how do we identify the right person to lead this political party and to come up with this political party?
All right.
As I finish, I think we also need civic education because now that the young people are engaged in politics, now that they care, now that they want to redeem this country, we need to start talking about how the constitution is biased to the young people and how the current president is not funding youth startups and how the Hustler Fund is not working for the Hustler groups.
So civic education really is important. Turunga, solutions here, but very briefly.
To add on what you were saying, the civic education, if you may remember, last year during the protest, it is civic education that brought more people to the streets because they were educated on what these are the issues that are affecting us. It's through civic education that the people will get to know these are the issues that are affecting us and this is what we need to do. So as a nation, when it comes to political parties, the reason as to why the Gen Z, they say they were partyless and leaderless is because in Kenya it has been proven again, over and over again, that the leaders have a price. That's why you realize that Baba has been in government for like the longest, since Moi's time. At the peak of every revolution, Baba comes. He cleans. Amekuwa Baba for, so he cleans each and every time. Is at the peak of every revolution where people come together to fight for their rights. You see, so as a nation, we are heading to where I foresee what happened in UK through the Labour Party, where we have a member of parliament who is 21 years. I foresee the same happening in Kenya, because now the youth are woke and they are ready to take up these positions.
Courtesy of civic education. Omari, the people of Kisii are definitely looking up to you on matter solutions. What solutions should we even be talking about?
For me, the first solution to change the youth perspective, to change this thing, the first thing is the policies on the structural formation. We need something like, for women to have a third gender. For youths, we need something like a third youth role. In that way, for example, like we have 20 cabinet secretaries, we have 5 in the formation. So structural formation, policy change, and empowerment. You know, an empowered youth is a person who is strong.
Right.
So we need empowerment, structural formation, and policy change.
Right. Dr. Wrap it up for us. Solutions, what should we be talking about? Definitely the government is listening to TV47 tonight. And I'd like to believe they're jolting down the beautiful ideas all of you are saying. So yeah, wrap it up.
Once again, I'll say that I understand politics feels like an exclusive VIP club where the young people are stuck outside, struggling with the bouncers to get in. But here is a plot twist. We need to understand that we outnumber the bouncers. And if we show up in these numbers, we will not only occupy this club, but we will also guide what is happening in the club. Every decision, including jobs, taxes, government appointments, we will control what happens there. So therefore, instead of complaining from the sidelines, let us get inside this club and change the DJ. Because honestly, the current playlist is not working for us.
Okay. Thank you very much. What a way to wrap it up. There he says the music should be changed, the DJ should be changed, and a new DJ should be on the decks. Allow me to read what you're saying out here, just a few, about 4 comments, what you're saying here tonight. George Mukanda says, Governor, be a blessing tonight. Talk about the conversation we had with the Kakamega Governor Fernandez Barza earlier tonight. That meeting was for dynasty warriors and choir members of Ruto regime, still the same. Victor Musioka says, young people are already in political parties. Everybody should speak in his own space. Political parties are UDA and ODM. Circles, Gen Z and Comrade should avoid those circles and political parties. The last one, no single Gen Z, no Comrade can vie for presidency. Let's support the existing leaders who are competent. We have not yet met the qualifications to vie for senior seats. Let's have a background. Not my words, those are what you are saying. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us. It is 11 p.m. East African time. Rhoda Nyamai has been on the sign language docket. I'm yours truly, Stanley Nyaringita, on behalf of the entire amazing crew who made it possible since in the morning cafe until now. Have yourself a wonderful Wednesday evening.